Or when Williams last won the title. It's been good to see Williams improving under James Vowles. Even as a massive McLaren and, oddly enough, Michael Schumacher fan who saw his favourite team and driver both be beaten mercilessly by Williams in the early to mid-1990s, it was heartbreaking to see the state of the team Frank built and Claire broke fall into the dreadful state it was in for the last decade or two. McLaren's brilliant revival in the last 3 or 4 years has shown that sleeping giants can indeed wake up, and somehow the delightful dominance of Team Papaya in 2025 made me think of Williams in their prime. More specifically, the last time that Frank's boys managed to win the title, the 1997 season. Now you Netflix generation may be wondering why anyone could care about Williams, but the fear for that team came naturally to those of us who were around in that time. Think about it. They last won a title in 1997. They last won a race in 2012, and yet Williams are still one of the most successful teams in Formula One history. 9 constructors titles, 7 drivers titles, 114 race wins. Legends like Keke Rosberg, Nico Rosberg, Nigel Mansell, Damon Hill, Alain Prost, David Coulthard and more recent race winners like Valtteri Bottas and Mark Webber all drove for the famous Williams marquee, as did the hero of today's video and the last man to win a title for Frank Williams, Canada's Jacques Villeneuve. For the 1997 season, Williams were the defending champions. They also won the 96 drivers title, but had in classic Frank Williams fashion sacked champion Damon Hill despite finally winning the title. The team were favourites to win the title, with Jacques Villeneuve being joined by German Heinz-Harald Frentzen, a driver who had been seen as superior to Michael Schumacher before they joined the F1 grid. Spoiler alert, Frentzen was good, but he was no Schumi. Williams' main rivals were expected to be Ferrari, with Benetton and McLaren the dark horses. 97 was also the final Williams car that had any input from the then recently departed to McLaren Adrian Newey. The first race was down under, and Villeneuve did his part by capturing pole. His moment of glory was fleeting though, as he collided with Johnny Herbert and retired in the very first corner of the race. McLaren's Coulthard won the race from Schumi's Ferrari and Häkkinen in the other gorgeous silver McLaren. In Brazil, Villeneuve again put the blue and white monster on pole and again was off at the first corner. This time, however, he escaped the humiliation of retiring early again when the race was restarted, and he won from Burgers Benetton and Olivier Panis' gorgeous Ligier. In Argentina, again Villeneuve proved Williams' quality with another pole, and again there was an incident at the first corner, but this time it was Michael Maker of Shoes who went off when he collided with future teammate Rubens Barrichello. Villeneuve ended up winning from Irvine's Ferrari and a young Ralf Schumacher. Imola. Oh, how I love that track, despite what it took from us in '94. Villeneuve again started first, but it would be the turn of teammate Frentzen to win after the Canadian's gearbox just broke. Schumacher, Michael that is, and Irvine rounded off the podium. The result meant Villeneuve topped the standings with 20 points, followed by Schumacher with 14. Monaco at last gave us a different pole sitter, but in a familiar looking car. Frentzen grabbed pole in the other Williams, but it was Michael Schumacher who won on a wet race from Barrichello in the Stewart and Irvine in the second Ferrari. In Spain, Williams continued their quali dominance as Villeneuve again started first and won from Panis and Alesi. Ferrari finally caught up, and Schumacher qualified first and won in Canada and in France. In Canada, Alesi and Jordan Fisichella rounded off the podium, and in France it was Frentzen and Irvine joining Schumacher in the top 3. In Britain, Villeneuve started top once more and also won. Alesi again was second and followed home by a young Alex Wurz, who filled in for Berger at Benetton. This result meant Schumacher led the championship with 47 points ahead of Villeneuve's 43. On his return, Berger put his Benetton on pole in Germany and duly won the race from Schumacher and Häkkinen. In Hungary, it was Michael Schumacher on pole, but defending champion Damon Hill, who had had a rubbish season, started brilliantly, and by lap 10 he was leading the race in his very unfancied arrows. He led till the final lap, when Villeneuve passed his now struggling arrows to take Williams' 100th win. At Spa in Belgium, Villeneuve again took his now customary pole. It was raining though, and it wasn't without reason that Schumacher was fondly called the Regenmeister, as the German won from Fisichella and Frentzen. In Italy, Alesi put Benetton on pole, but Coulthard won for McLaren from Alesi and Frentzen again, meaning this was the only race of the year without Schumacher or Villeneuve on the podium. The Austrian Grand Prix made its return to the series in '97, and Villeneuve, well, he started on pole and won from Coulthard and Frentzen. Next up was the Luxembourg Grand Prix, strangely enough hosted not in Luxembourg but at the Nürburgring in Germany. This saw Häkkinen's McLaren on pole. Villeneuve, however, won when the McLarens both broke down, with Alesi and Frentzen completing the top three. This meant Villeneuve had taken the championship lead with 2 races remaining. Suzuka in Japan again had Villeneuve on pole, but Schumi won from Frentzen and Irvine, meaning the German now led Villeneuve by a single point with 1 race to go. And that race was the European Grand Prix held at Jerez in Spain. And somehow, miraculously, Michael Schumacher, Jacques Villeneuve and Heinz-Harald Frentzen posted the exact same qualifying times. Villeneuve started first because he posted the time first. Schumacher took the lead early and seemed to be racing towards the title. But Villeneuve started catching him, and on lap 48 attempted an overtake on the Ferrari. He took the inside line and seemed about to pass the Red Baron when Schumacher seemed to remember he was German and emulated his famous forefathers from World Wars past by turning into the Canadian in an obvious attempt to take him out. Unfortunately for the German, and fortunately for the Canadian, his timing was off, and Schumacher only managed to take himself out, retiring after the incident, with Villeneuve finishing behind Häkkinen and Coulthard in the McLarens to win the 1997 World Drivers' title. Schumacher would be allowed to keep his race results from the season, but would be officially disqualified from the title standings, meaning Villeneuve would win the title officially from teammate Frentzen, who would be promoted to second with Schumi's DQ. Frentzen proved to be a disappointment overall, though, winning only once in the San Marino Grand Prix. Jacques Villeneuve won 7 races during the season and Williams won 8 to snatch both titles. Villeneuve would, however, never win another race again, and he would never again qualify first in Formula 1. Williams haven't won a race since 2012 and have never won another driver's or constructor's title, something that seemed to be their birthright in the 1990s. And so, we've reached the end of another video. And if you don't mind the effort, why don't you smash that subscribe button, click the like button and share the video. Now what harm could that do? Thank you for watching. Keep a lookout for the old YouTube notifications for new content every week. God bless and goodbye.